誰だったっけ、久本さん。久村さん。ちょっと来てごらん。おはよう。
At a psychiatric hospital in Tokyo, a new patient has come in during the night.
なんか相当ね、暴れたみたいですよ。
自動車に飛び込もうとしたんでしょ。飛び込んだのか、救急車。
The woman is 22, with a record of drug abuse, not mental illness. It's a view of Japan outsiders rarely see, because the Japanese prefer to deny they have a drug problem, or a problem with how drug addicts are treated. She'll be locked up here indefinitely for her own protection. The system files away another burnt-out casualty of this helter-skelter society. The drug of preference for Japan's restless multitudes is amphetamines, or speed. This love affair with amphetamines goes back to the Second World War. Soldiers, factory workers, even nurses were forced to take stimulants to stretch the nation's fighting capacity. At war's end, pharmaceutical companies flooded the market, and amphetamine use spread rapidly. In the 1950s, controls were imposed, but by then, the country was already addicted. Today, Japan has some of the toughest anti-drug laws in the world. Among polite society, there's a belief drug abuse is now more or less confined to the criminal class. But that's never been true. Tsuneo Kondo was an ordinary salary worker with a ferry company when he got hooked on speed.
僕はやっぱり、この会社にいてもね、もうこれ以上出世もしないし、頭打ちだなと思った時にやっぱり覚醒剤と出会ったんですよね。
A truck driver gave him a shot of amphetamines for toothache. So began a 10-year addiction.
そんなに罪悪感もなかったですね。で、もう一つ俺は仕事を一生懸命しなきゃならないし、仕事に使えると思ったんですよ。
The Japanese like being high. They like to be active.
Roy Assenheimer is a Catholic Merinol priest who works in one of Tokyo's seedier neighbourhoods. He's a reformed alcoholic and has also been a speed user.
If you're taking amphetamines, you can gamble for days on end without eating or sleeping. Students can study days on end without sleeping or eating. Of course, Japanese, you can make more Toyotas if you don't sleep and eat.
These days, Father Roy and Kondo are helping addicts get clean. The two first met over a shared amphetamine needle. Both went through the typical addict's merry-go-round, locked up in mental hospitals to dry out, then sent back onto the street.
中間施設とかトリートメントセンターとかっていうのはまあないですよ。どこに手助けを求めたらいいのかもう全くないですね。
So they opened this refuge in a Tokyo back alley, what's grown into a nationwide self-help movement, the only rehabilitation program like it in the country.
やはり僕の場合は刑務所生活が長くて、ダルクに来るまでにこう自分の人生振り返ってみると、一番充実してたな、一番生きてたなというふうにこう感じたのは僕は刑務所だったんですね。
Nobody knows exactly how big Japan's drug habit is, but amphetamine users alone are thought to number 500,000.
There's a freer atmosphere coming into Japan, and materialism, the breakdown of the family.
From my point of view, I do not care about rehabilitation because I only see the drug abusers as criminals.
Hiroto Yamazaki heads the Drug Enforcement Division at the National Police Agency. The nickname he got while on attachment to the New York Police Department has stuck.
I'm telling everybody that I'm not Dirty Harry, I'm Clean Harry.
It's late afternoon in Yokohama, the port city next to Tokyo. Clean Harry's team is making a sweep of the docks, checking for signs of a possible drug drop. This Russian freighter seems to be tied up unusually close. Worth a look. Despite their history of amphetamine abuse, Japanese tend to regard drugs as a problem imported from overseas. The water police keep close tabs on any vessel from a known narcotic centre. Police efforts have virtually eliminated production of illegal drugs within Japan, but the stronger yen has made this a plum market for international drug smugglers.
Abuse drugs in Japan has been recently diversified. Still, a stimulant is the main problem and the main target for us.
Back at the station in Yokohama, Harry's team is tallying the haul from a recent raid. A lot for one dealer, they say. Marijuana, pills, and speed valued at $4,000.
ここの市場階段、ここが捜査員が身を隠す場所に適当な場所がありますんで、ここへ。
The squad is going after the man they suspect of supplying the dealer in this case.
ヤクザの事務所ですから、拳銃等がですね、ある恐れがあります。
The Yakuza, Japan's criminal gangs, control the amphetamine trade, and they're dangerous. Police estimate the Yakuza earn $6 billion a year selling stimulants, 1/3 of their income. A trade the gangs are determined to protect, whatever the cost. So Harry's team is taking no chances. The target of today's operation is a boss of the Inagawa Kai, one of the biggest Yakuza groups. Japanese crime syndicates even have registered addresses. The stakeout is the gangster's apartment. Japan at one stage was getting on top of its amphetamine problem, until the Yakuza secured new supplies of speed from Taiwan and mainland China. Since then, trying to deter drug use by cracking down on drug crime has met with as little success as elsewhere in the world. 1 in 5 arrests in Japan is drug-related.
The classes of stimulants addicts has been varied, diversified. Recent cases, we arrested students of a junior high school, or we arrest just ordinary housewives.
This time, no amphetamines. Instead, hidden at the Yakuza's gas meter, some cannabis. Under the law here, even this amount of marijuana will mean detention. At Kawagoe Young Offenders Prison outside Tokyo, 1/3 of the inmates are druggies. Rather than deal with their addiction, the authorities prefer to stick them behind bars. The routine is Spartan, military-like, and unvarying. The addicts confined here may think themselves different from the murderers and rapists, but they're treated exactly the same. The prisons have a simple philosophy. Lawbreakers lack discipline and have forgotten how to work. All prisoners receive anti-drug education, and there are counselling sessions for users. But Junko Fujioka, who runs this program, says she meets resistance from superiors who consider addicts beyond reform.
We have no evidence our education programs have some effect. And also, The percentages of recidivists for drug abusers is very high, more than 50%.
For drug addicts, crime deterrence alone isn't working. Today, 3 of Kawagoe's young inmates are going out, their sentences completed. They are presented with certificates of achievement, like school graduates. The odds are, though, the speed user among them is coming back. Official Japan's policy of zero tolerance may look impressive, but it's failing because of the Japanese belief that if jail doesn't cure the addiction, it must be a psychiatric problem.
18歳ぐらいから覚醒剤を使用して、現在まで断続的に使用しています。ES です。18から22日まで5回。
In the drug wing of Tokyo's Matsuzawa Psychiatric Hospital, the morning shift has come on. Their latest admission is a 33-year-old speed addict. In a psychotic frenzy induced by the drug, he slashed himself with a knife. The treatment is a locked cell, heavy sedation, and electric shocks. With prolonged use, amphetamines cause hallucinations and paranoid behaviour, which can recur even when you're off the drug, so-called flashbacks. On the news, Japanese occasionally see the sensational results: a speed addict gone berserk. The focus, though, is not on why this hyperactive nation uses stimulants, but on the psychotic menace posed by those beyond recovery.
それはもう使ってるなんてのはもう絶対許せないわけですよ。薬物依存は回復するということを謳ったらね、もっと薬物依存者が増えていくっていう発想しかないんじゃないですかね。
Only when an addict goes berserk is he likely to attract attention, and then as a mental patient. While we're at Matsuzawa Hospital, the doctors find speed among the personal effects of a patient just brought in.
この持ってた人をですね、警察に引き渡すのかどうなのかということは我々、ジレンマがありますけれども、まだその決めてはおりません。知りたいんですよ。なんて言いました？どこで？
If it were any other drug, they'd be obliged to report it. But speed started life in Japan peddled by the government, and there's still a separate law for amphetamines which treats the addict as a medical problem. The psychiatric hospitals in turn become places of confinement, doing the work of prisons. Some patients we're shown, including this one-time Yakuza, will probably never leave. For the non-addicts at this hospital, there's considerable freedom and an active program of rehabilitation. None of this is made available to the drug users, some of whom instead, through constant sedation, end up with another addiction.
Rehabilitation system and the medical system are, how to say, separated, and it's very difficult to combine it into one system.
Tsuneo Kondo's rehabilitation centres take a radically different approach. Joe here set fire to himself while on speed. But he's considered a hero, not a madman, because he lived to tell the tale. Addiction is approached as a curable sickness, not a crime.
We have no rules. The only rules we have are 3 meetings a day. We don't even have a rule about not taking drugs, because we're powerless over taking drugs.
つまり被害者がいないんだよね。被害者は自分で加害者も自分だと。こういうことなんだよね。
By adopting a theory of addiction more favoured in the West, Kondo has been waiting a decade for any government support. And of course, he doesn't have all the answers.
誰かの手助けねサポートがないと死んでしまいますね。
私にお与えください。自分に変えられないものを受け入れる必要、変えられるものは変えていく勇気を、そして2つのものを見分ける賢さを、いい覚悟を。